from the YouTube comments from our friend Yippee.
Hi, Yippee.
I've missed most of the show today. Sad.
Wow, where you been?
Does Happer have any comment on his Lord and Savior Caitlin Clark's flop and fake collision with a fan? Well, Yippee, that seems like a leading question. That's what we call it in the biz. And I do have comment on the aforementioned situation. Yes. So I'm not even gonna preface this with if you've missed the video. You did not miss the video.
You didn't.
You saw Caitlin Clark and a member of the Ohio State social media staff high speed collide with each other at the end of the Iowa-Ohio State game, which resulted in a Ohio State storming of the court. And then immediately, I mean, this is very predictable. 5 seconds later, people were brought up that Matt Painter thing where he talked about it in Lincoln a couple weeks ago when Nebraska beat Purdue. It's like, by the way, here's a fun fact about Matt Painter's quote unquote anger about the situation that unfolded in Lincoln. He actually sent a message to Nebraska's staff after the game, went out of his way and complimented them on how well of a job they did, how good of a job they did.
Interesting.
So he was not mad. He was just saying, hey, we got to do something. And once my complaint to Matt Painter was, well, what are we supposed to do? You say you're pro court storming. We love court storming. Then what are we supposed to do? And the answer is it's a situation that is not conducive to order, right? Like, so what are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to keep the players safe and everybody else safe all at the same time? And the answer is, to a certain extent, you really can't. There's people who run on the floor like speeding bullets, and maybe they're holding a phone above their head. And for some reason, the Iowa player, in this case, Caitlin Clark, preferred to run off of the floor like a speeding bullet. Now, she got the wind knocked out of her. That was a real thing because she didn't expect it. She didn't see the person coming. The person didn't see her coming. And then an Ohio State player tried to come and help, and she was shoved out of the way, to take a look and see what was going on there. So the question in sports today is, who is to blame here? Who is to blame? And I'm going to go ahead and go here, Josh. We don't understand nuance once again.
We sure don't.
Part 1 billion. We finally reached it. 1 billion times we have never understood nuance.
Congrats, everybody. We made it.
Nice job.
We made it.
Can it, if you just hang tight with me here, isn't it possible that it's nobody's fault or everybody's fault all at the same time? Is it
that doesn't fit into a neat and tidy box, Connor?
Or do we have to pretend like it's one person's fault or it's one thing's fault?
I'm going to need a head on a pike for this one.
If we're pro court storming, then the court storming is going to happen when you beat Iowa women's basketball on your home floor in front of a sold out crowd. So we've already accepted that we like court storming and we're okay with it happening. And it has created a situation where the people on the basketball team, the women on the basketball team, are going to, by nature, be around people who are storming onto the floor. And so, yes, is it a bad situation? Of course. Do we want to do away with court storming? We've already decided no. Great.
No.
And then people are going to run into each other. And
court storming is a contact sport.
Court storming is a contact sport. Well said. Did she flop? I don't think so.
I think she did. 100%.
Josh, I think this is your appropriate reaction when somebody runs into you and you don't expect someone to run into you. I think that's a very normal, everyday reaction if somebody were to blindside you on a normal everyday. You're walking. Let's say, Josh, you're in an extra hurry to get to the bathroom.
Always am.
And someone comes around that corner right through that doorway that I'm looking at right now.
Yep.
and you make contact.
Whoa.
It's a normal reaction. You don't see it coming.
Now, I will say this on the flop.
She didn't flop.
I think she did, but going to the ground does not make a lot of sense in that scenario because
She got the wind knocked out of her. She couldn't breathe. You ever had the wind knocked out of you? I mean,
yes, I'm a fat man. It happens often.
She had to get help back to the locker room. Like, and by the way, getting the wind knocked out of you seems like a very serious situation in the moment, but is ultimately not a problem. Like it's
Right.
just it happens every single time that anybody runs into somebody unexpectedly. It just happens.
Give it a couple minutes, it comes back, everybody's fine.
And she was fine in the post-game press conference.
Yeah, I thought she did her best to like, okay, let me try and calm down everybody's sensation here, but I don't know that it worked.
Well, you can only say so much, Josh.
Yeah.
People are riled up about the situation. I'm just not. Once again, it's one of those things where I saw it. I knew that people were going to have outrage toward it. I knew that people were going to try and cancel court storming. I saw like Seth Davis is like, oh yeah, this should be the last court storming ever. We got to do something about this. Like everybody agrees that we have to do something about this, but also most people seem to agree that court storming is good and that we like to have it as part of our college basketball game. And I just don't think you can have one thing or the other.
No.
Like if you're pro court storming, if you're pro people running onto the floor all at the same time while players are trying to exit in a safe manner, people are going to run into each other, and there is a higher risk for either injury or situations where you just don't, you don't want to have players interacting with fans on the floor in like a free-for-all situation. You can't have one or the other. You either have to cancel them altogether or you're never going to get what you want out of these. They're interacting with each other on the floor, and it's on camera, and we're all going to see it. And for the record, I'm fine with it. I like it. I prefer that we have court storming in basketball. Yes. So I am fully willing to say right here that there's going to be some situations where players run into people who in a normal situation would not and should not be on the floor. It's okay. It's going to happen sometimes. Nobody's gotten hurt because of it. Continually, nobody is hurt because of it. Caitlin Clark didn't get hurt. She got run into. Some people get run into. If there's one thing that Caitlin Clark could have done better, it's take your time. That's it. That's the only thing I'll say about Caitlin Clark in this situation. Take your time. There's no need to be sprinting off the floor. Your entire team is behind you. They're walking. It's this. The court storm is going in a very orderly manner. They're running out there. If you are walking gingerly and slowly, you don't get run into by another person who obviously isn't paying attention because she's trying to get content for the social media team.
She did.
And she did. I'd like to see that video. Seriously, have they posted that video yet? That'd be really funny.
That would be.
David writes in on the Twitter.
Hi, David.
JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Once again, Connor with the bleep take.
Oh, no.
She totally flopped. The spin move was so fake. Do you agree with David?
I think she flopped. I think she said, I don't want people talking about Iowa losing.
Let me go
them
ahead.
Talk about me.
All right, let me go ahead and just and pull a little lasso around this entire thing and intermingle this take with another take that I have generally about sports. And that is when you slow everything down to however many frames per second, it could have the appearance that something's happening that actually is not happening. I maintain that was a totally normal reaction to get unexpectedly run into on the floor while you are running at the same time. You're la-di-da-di-da. Let's go to the locker room. You get run into by a person with their phone over their head. I think that's a normal reaction. I don't have any problem with it. She got the wind knocked out of her. She had to be taken to the floor. They basically had to help her off the floor. I mean, it means it took a pretty hard hit. She took a pretty hard hit.
They clanged.
Yeah, like I don't think she flopped. I don't think she sold it. I don't think she sold it to make it look like she had been hit harder than she was. Like, I wouldn't even get the point of that. That's all.
I think we've all seen the video. I think it's pretty clear what happened. That Vlade Divac taught her a thing or two.
Did you hear my take about slow motion, instant replay? I hate instant replay.
Yes,
because it has made everybody think it's made everybody think things are happening that actually aren't happening. You slow anything down to however many frames per second, and it's going to look like she's doing something that's actually not happening. I think it's once again, I think it's a normal reaction to getting run into at high speed unexpectedly. Let's take a phone call from Bob on the 42 Degrees Source hotline. Hello, Bob.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Very good.
Have a comment on court storming.
Okay.
When Nebraska had no sit Sunday against Wisconsin, what they did there was they had the attendants there had a rope ready to go, and before they let the kids storm the floor, they let the Wisconsin team and coaches, etc., get off the court, and then they pulled the rope back, and then they stormed the court. I think that's maybe a fairly simple solution, but there were no ropes there for Purdue, so I don't know if they didn't think about it anymore, but I think it would be a good solution, a possible solution.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Bob. Appreciate it. Here's what you lose when you have the ropes up. And by the way, I do remember them. Was it for that game? Because I remember they were trying to kind of do something about that. I think that was the first court storming in Pinnacle Bank Arena history.
Wow.
No sit Sunday. But yeah, they were trying to, let's make this orderly, and this is definitely going to happen. But like you lose the immediacy of it. Like you lose the intensity of the court storming when you don't just allow people to run on the floor all at the same time. Do you gain a little bit of safety? Yeah. Yeah. It's a matter of like, do you trust the people to not either engage with or create physical contact with the opposing team walking off the floor, or in one case, running off the floor during that period of time? It's about trust. And in some places you could trust it, and in some places you definitely can't and shouldn't. At Nebraska, I think you're probably okay. At Ohio State, maybe not. You get some things yelled at you.
Interesting.
That's what Lisa Bluter talked about after the game.
You have a rowdy fan base.
Rowdy fan base. I think it takes away too much from it. Like, if I'm a court stormer, it loses the oomph if I'm not able to run when that thing hits zero. That's what I'm there for.
Okay.
I don't want that.
I don't know why.
I don't want the ropes up.
That 5 seconds really matters to you if you're just there to get rowdy.
I don't want the ropes up. I don't think there should be any ropes. Yeah. That's just me, though. I was so mad when my senior year at Central, we won the state championship, and they don't allow you to storm the floor for when you win the state championship because they got to get everybody out of there and then play the next game. We're pushing, pushing the rope, pushing the yellow people. And some people kind of snuck on to there. But if they're making it a thing where you can't storm the court, you can't storm the court. I think it's all or nothing. You put the ropes up entirely for everybody, or you just let them go. And people know when to do it.
Let them storm the court.
This would go against some of the rules of public safety that we have in place as of right now, but I don't know. I believe in the good kind-heartedness of people. All right, so to recap, Caitlin Clark, she did not flop from my perspective.
She pushed off and flopped.
She pushed off and she flopped, so Josh thinks she deserves an offensive foul and a flopping technical.
Yeah, definitely.
So, interesting. I just think it's a block, and it's a you move on, you shoot 2 free throws if you're in the bonus, and you move on to the next one.
Real look at me Louie behavior from college basketball's biggest look at me Louie.
Wow. Why are you a Caitlin Clark hater?
Who does she play for?
The Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yeah. Hater.
You're just a hater of Iowa?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I didn't know you were a Caitlin Clark hater. I thought you'd be a Caitlin Clark lover.
She's very good at the basketball.
Yeah. But you don't like her as a person?
I don't like the team she plays for.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't like the cut of her jib.
That's fine. That's fair. But you're taking it out on her as a person. You're saying that she had ill intent because of the jersey that she was wearing.
I'm saying I've seen the videotape, and that's all I need to see.
Chris in Montana writes in.
Hi, Chris.
We all know whose fault it is. The media.
Always is.
Could very well be. Jeff says, very skilled of Hap to somehow relate this to replay being bad for sports. Thank you. And a text from the 402. You keep saying unexpectedly. How do you expect potential bodily contact in that situation? But, well, I don't think it was bodily. I don't think there was anything oozing from anybody. It's just two people ran into each other.
A couple of bodies banging together.
Okay, but like physical contact, not like bodily, like
not bodily fluid.
There's blood everywhere. Maybe I have a different perspective on what bodily means. Also, have you seen the slow-mo? She was not blindsided. She saw the person and turned into them. I don't agree with that. I have seen the slow-mo replay. I don't think she saw her at all.
Calculated effort to distract people from the law.
So what you're saying is she saw the lady with the cell phone coming and steered into her and then flopped?
Yeah. You've seen the video, yes?
I have seen the video. That's not at all what I saw. That's not at all what I saw. She was running off of the floor. Mm-hmm. The lady came and smacked into her, who also didn't see Caitlin Clark, and they did the normal thing of what happens when two people run into each other.
Be the first time anyone didn't see Caitlin Clark.
How can you not see this, Connor? Texter says, this is weird for me to say, but in this situation, I am Team Josh.
Thank you. I'm on the right side of history.